All right, guys, so how do you know if you're being too hard on yourself? The reason why I asked that question is because if you're watching this video, you're probably feeling pretty crummy right now. You might have come short on a goal, or maybe you're not where you think you need to be in life right now, or in your business right now. Maybe your health or your relationships are being affected, and you're coming down to the point where you find yourself beating yourself up because you just feel like you're not who you are supposed to be at this given time, or you haven't achieved what you're supposed to have achieved right now. And quite frankly, you're being hard on yourself. So what's the difference? How do you know if you're being too hard on yourself? And if you are being too hard on yourself, what are some things that you can do to help pull yourself out of that funk and to help you realize the bigger picture in all of this? Well, stay tuned because that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So you're going to want to stay till the very end because I really do feel like these next couple of tips are going to help you break through this mindset that you might be beating yourself against the head with about you not being good enough and you beating yourself up for it. So stay tuned because that's coming up right now. What's going on, guys? My name is Gabe Kemezi and welcome back to my channel. On my channel, I teach you guys how to master your mindset so you can build the business and lifestyle of your dreams. And today we're talking about being too hard on yourself, right? What does that actually mean and how can you fix that? How can you stop yourself from being too hard on yourself? Or are you not being too hard on yourself? Or are you having just the right level of expectation that you need to have in order to get to where you want to go? So the reason why I really wanted to make this video is because I go through this all the time. I think personally, I'm my own biggest critic, and it's funny because I don't do this to anybody else except myself. And I like to think that people who have goals they want to reach, or people who are just like strivers and achievers, we have this complex where we're a little bit too hard on ourselves because when we fall short, maybe when we don't hit a goal, or maybe we don't hit a milestone, or we're not moving as fast as we want or like to move, it makes us feel bad and we start beating ourselves up because we feel like we're not putting in enough effort, or we're not putting in enough time, or maybe we're a little bit too lazy, or we're procrastinating too much. So how do you get past this? Well, there are three main tips that I want to give you in this video to really help you understand first if you are being too hard on yourself or not, and how you can start to get past this so that you don't hold yourself back from really making true and real progress. Okay, so the first thing that you want to consider here is there's a difference when you are contemplating whether you're being too hard on yourself or if you are being too hard on yourself. There's this thing about perception versus perspective. Okay, I'm gonna say that one time. Perception versus perspective. So what is perception? Perception is being able to see something and take in information with your senses. So for you, your perception of your situation might be that you failed. Okay, maybe you wanted to lose weight and you missed that mark, or you did lose that weight and you went back into binge eating, or maybe you went off to start a venture or build a business and for whatever reason it's not working out and you're now back to square one, and in your mind it's perceived that you have failed. Okay, but what I want to tell you here is that your perception of this may need to shift a little bit, because in life you only win or you learn. There are going to be times where you're going to have to take an L. Okay, there are going to be times when you're going to fail. There are going to be times when you're not going to hit that mark, and that is okay. Failure is the best teacher in life. It's going to teach you what you need to do in order to improve so that next time, when your next chance and next opportunity comes around, you can capitalize on it and actually move forward and be successful. But without those little failures, without coming short, you're never going to know where you need to work on. You're never going to know where you need to recalibrate. So if you feel like you have failed in whatever reason, and as big or as small as the failure could really mean in your life right now, you got to look at it and make sure you're perceiving it correctly. Okay, because just because it's a failure, just because it feels like a failure, or feels like a loss, doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. You want to change your mindset from what it looks like, which is a failure, to a lesson, something that you can improve upon for your next thing. All right. Now, your perception is different from your perspective. Now, what do I mean by perspective? Your perspective is essentially your attitude towards something, how you look and how you view something. Now, if you take your situation and you stand back and zoom out, you get a different perspective of what things are actually looking like and appearing like in your life. And what I mean by that is, let's say you had a goal right now to like lose some weight, and for whatever reason, you had a great summer or something like that, and you just didn't. You ended back in square one, and you're beating yourself up. You're being hard on yourself right now. But look at it from the grand scheme of things, okay? Because there are, let's say, for example, and, you don't always have to go this far left, right? But there are people right now who would kill to be able to even be able to walk out of the hospital. There are people right now who are terminally ill. There are people right now who have a lot bigger issues than worrying about they didn't lose or they didn't hit their 5, 10, 20 pound weight loss goal. Or if you're worried about, you're not building a business as fast as you like, or maybe you're not making money as fast as you would like. There's some people out there who are literally trying to figure out what to eat, let alone talking about, building financial wealth and building a legacy. Now, I'm not saying that either one of those are important than one or the other. I mean, obviously you want to eat because, it's survival versus thriving, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother video. But what I am saying is that when you take a step back and look at it from a grander perspective, you realize that in the grand scheme of things, it is okay to not hit the mark every single time, because you have to really look at it from a macro level. As long as you're making incremental steps, one step at a time, towards that ultimate goal and vision of who you're trying to be, what you're trying to become, what you're trying to achieve, that's the important thing. That is more important than, let's say, hitting a milestone or hitting a particular goal. Because at the end of the day, those little particular goals, I set goals for myself every single week that I fall short of. Every single week I set goals that I fall short of. Now, don't get me wrong here, right? Because there's a difference here between not being too hard on yourself and actually being responsible and setting standards and goals for yourself and going to achieve. And I'm not saying that you should use that as an excuse to be like, well, okay, don't beat myself up because I didn't achieve today. Like, that's not what I'm saying. You still want to be making progress, but that's the key. You want to be making progress. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress, gradual progress. So another way you can look at it too is like, let's say you're not making enough money. The other day I had a conversation with a homeless person about how he literally didn't know where he's going to get the next $10 that he needs for gas right now. He's literally, and once he runs out of gas, he's not going to have anywhere to go or anything. And that really changed my perspective on things, because it's like, well, I'm over here trying to like maximize my ad spending so that I can, triple the amount of money that I make last month in my online business. And he's just worried about the gas he's gonna get for his car so that he can survive, and that's it. Like, he doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have any other expendable money at the time. So when you see other people's situations and realize that at the end of the day, it might not be that serious. It might not really be that big of a deal as far as coming short of your goals. So understand the whole difference between being your perception and your perspective, okay? It might seem like you failed, but it's not a failure. It's just a lesson that needed to be learned, or a lesson that you are learning for the next go around. And in the grand scheme of things, as big as that failure might seem, it really might not be as big as you are making it seem, or as big as your mind is making it seem right now, because our minds love to take little tiny things and blow them out of proportion and create the worst dramatic story and movie and just play it through the screen of our eyes and mind. But when you understand these two concepts, it helps you to kind of dial it down and pull the reins a little bit and get a little bit back to earth here and grounded, and realize that it might not be as big as you are making it right now. So here's the second tip that I have for you if you are beating yourself up and you feel like, are you being too hard on yourself? And that is forgiveness. More importantly, forgiving yourself. Because guys, we're not perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. All of us make mistakes. And it's funny because all of us end up in the situation. All of us want to be further than we are currently right now. And I don't know if it's because that's just human nature, and maybe because of social media and what we see and the glitz and glam of Instagram. It could be a multitude of different things. But when you do fall short, and when you do end up back to, maybe you're not making enough progress or as much fast progress as you thought you was going to make, Forgive yourself. Give yourself permission and grace to be human, to not be perfect. And hey, if you don't forgive yourself, I forgive you, right? Like, give yourself that ability to just kind of let that energy go, because the more you hang on to those bags, people are walking around carrying these bags of like, oh, I didn't hit that goal, and oh, I didn't hit this goal, and they're just like carrying it around with them and beating themselves across the head with the same bags that they're carrying around, and it's not doing you any favors. And you wouldn't do that to anybody else, right? You wouldn't, if someone came to you and was like, man, like, I just feel like I'm not hitting my goals, and you knew that they were seriously and sincerely trying to improve and better themselves, you're not going to tell them like, bruh, suck it up and go. You know, you might say that if they're just being lazy bum and sitting on their couch all day, that's a little bit different. But if they're really trying to make progress, you say, dude, it's okay. Like, just brush your shoulders off, keep moving one step at a time, baby steps. Same thing applies for you. And so if you need to hear that, I'm telling you right now, dude, it's okay. Take it one step at a time, baby steps, right? But forgive yourself for not making that mark, because it's okay. Like I said earlier, it's not about being perfect. It's about the progression. It's about the constant movement, the one step at a time. The greatest journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first one. And just because you took 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, that's not the end of the movie, right? You know, just because you took 3 steps back, you just pick yourself up and keep moving forward, and eventually you get a little bit closer towards where you're trying to go. So you definitely want to understand that, give yourself some slack, give yourself a break, realize that you're not perfect, realize that other people go through this, and that's okay. All right, so forgive yourself. All right, y'all, so tip number 3 that I have for if you're beating yourself up or if you feel like you're being too hard on yourself, one thing that I recommend that you do is reevaluate your goals, reevaluate what you are going for. Oftentimes we tend to have big, lavish goals, and that is not a bad thing, okay? If you've watched some of my other videos, I tell you dream big, because if you're not dreaming big, and if your dream isn't big enough that it's scaring you, then you're not dreaming right, and I'm sure you've heard that before. But in that same, realm of dreaming big, and which equates to having big goals, you also have to realize that there's some times where you're gonna fall short in those goals, or those goals may not be as realistic as you need them to be in order for the incremental change and shift that you need to have to build the momentum to get to those bigger goals. What do I mean by all this? Let's say, for example, and I'm going to bring this back to weight loss because it's just easy to conceptualize, but let's say you have a main goal of losing 50 pounds, right? Or putting like 20 pounds of muscle. But let's just go with the weight loss thing here for a second and losing 50 pounds. Your goal next week can't be like, all right, cool. My goal is to lose 50 pounds. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to lose 45 pounds. I don't know why I'm looking at my wrist like I got to watch. But, my goal next week is to lose 45 pounds. That's not realistic. And then you beat yourself up because you didn't lose the 45 pounds. No, now it's okay to have the big goal of losing 50 pounds. But what you want to do is reevaluate the goals and little milestones that are going to get you to that big goal. So if your goal is to lose 50 pounds, then break that down maybe a little bit further and say, okay, so if my goal is to lose 50 pounds, let me take 10 weeks to do that, which means that I need to lose 5 pounds a week. And that is attainable, okay? It's a little bit maybe aggressive on like a weight loss thing, but I'm not a personal trainer or a doctor, so don't quote me on that. But it's a little bit more attainable than trying to lose 45 pounds in a week or two, right? I'm sure we can agree on that. So look at the goals that you are trying to achieve. Look at the things that you are quote unquote falling short of, and that you are beating yourself up over the head because you are, you're not making it, so to speak, and reevaluate those things. It's okay to dial them back a little bit. You don't have to dial down the big dream, right? But you can dial down the goals, you can dial down the milestones so that you have a little bit more attainable things that you can hit. And every time you hit some of those smaller goals, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel more motivated. It's gonna give you more juice and more energy and more drive to be able to go for the next one and the next one and the next one. But if you have such a big goal for your first step and you fall short, you're automatically gonna lose all that momentum and you're not gonna want to continue. And then you find yourself YouTubing, you're being too hard on yourself, and you got me on your screen watching this video, right? So, to avoid that whole situation in the first place, if you're already here, I'm grateful for you. But to avoid the situation for the next time, you really want to evaluate your goals, evaluate what you are, putting yourself as the what aim that you are trying to hit, and see if that's something that's really realistic, really attainable. It's okay to push yourself and get out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you don't have to eat the whole enchilada in one bite. See what I'm saying? You can really do it piece by piece, still heading towards the goal that you want to attain, but doing it in a way so that you set yourself up for success rather than setting yourself for failure and then beating yourself up because you think you quote unquote failed. All right, guys. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it gave you some insight and at least, makes you feel a little bit better if you're beating yourself up right now and thinking, hey man, like, am I being too hard on myself because I have these goals, I have these dreams and ambitions, and I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I thought I've wanted to or be here by now, but it's not happening. And is it me? I totally get it. And I hope this video provides some clarity. I hope it gives you just a little bit of a better insight as to your situation and how you can look at it and turn things around for yourself. But like I said, it starts here. It starts in the mind, all right? And if you understand that it's all about how you're viewing your situation, okay, how you view yourself, forgiving yourself, reevaluating things that you're aiming for, and understanding that you're a human being and that it is okay to fall short and that you don't lose or you don't fail, but they're just lessons that are learned in order to help you to actually win in the end, then my mission is done for this video. So if you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure you like this video, and comment down below in the comment section of this video and let me know if you are struggling with this right now. If you have a hard time beating yourself up and thinking that you're being too hard on yourself, comment in the comments below and let's just share love down there, encourage each other, pick each other up. All of us, we're all in the same boat, but as this community builds, I want us to all realize that we're all going for the same thing. We're all striving to be the best versions of ourselves. And I think that's really helpful for us to be able to do that and realize other people are going through the same waves here and that it is okay to sometimes feel like this, but what are we going to do to make sure that we continue to move forward and not get stuck in that rut which keeps us where we're at right now, which ultimately is not where you want to be. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time I drop a video every single Friday. Guys, I'm gonna leave you the same way I leave you in all of my videos. Don't forget and always remember, you only live once. Make it count. I'll catch you on the next one.